Vampires may start out in Romania or Egypt, but they always end up in London. Marx saw that, as in the gaslit setting of the British Library, he laboured tirelessly on his interminable steampunk survey of the body of SF Capital. Capital is dead labour, which vampire life lives only by sucking living labour. The task Marx set himself is no less than to diagnose and cure a planetary geotrauma that began in London 500 years ago. Apocalypse is always now, and Marx is trying to cut his way out of the present. If he can't break the timelines, the future will be nothing but more of the same. The endless end. Global subordination to capital's idiot cyber telos. Marx writes from the very epicenter of the ongoing catastrophe, the site where the capital artificial intelligence parasite, made up of numerous mechanical and intellectual organs, first crash-landed on Earth. Since then, using the factory-farmed population of the city to provide the mere conscious linkages it lacks, capital has itself become the solution to the perennial problem all Gothic entities face. How does what has never been alive reproduce? It uses your eyes and ears, your fingers, your brain. By virtue of it being value, capital has acquired the ability to add value to itself. It brings forth living offspring. Approach from West India Quay and see what corpses have sprouted on the Isle of the Dead. Barclays, HSBC, Bank of America, Citigroup. Capital mausoleums, freezer-white canyons of finance ice, pointing like rigor mortis fingers into the greyish purple of the light-polluted helicopter sky. Necropolitical takeover of the docks, both functionally and spatially. No need for ships to provide global communication now. Thought of the death that had virtual ground zero. If they struck, surely it would be here. Here, where everything is already dead. In Cabot Square, descend through the mock deco hallways into the migraine hyperbright no wonderland of the retail arcades. The eternal noon of the living dead. And Saturday night in the city is always dead. The high-rise reptiles have slunk back to their lairs. Finance vampires hunt by day. And I too have been one of the dead. Duplicates have used my name while the alien parasite entity squats behind my eyes. Marx. Down into the tube, hanging like a slab of bacon in the zombie meat trucks. The underground is the stalking zone of shambling automata. You know this in your dreams, and in what London dreams, in the fictions it breathes. That is why the London flood barrier against the real has had a spectacular record of failure. They were looking in the wrong places. The crowd flowed over London Bridge many times. Fictions about invasion, already invasion. As he completes Moses and the monotheism in Exile in Hampstead, Freud can see what Nigel Neal can later see. What you inherit from your parents is death. You come to be in a mortifying structure that precedes you. You only have a lifetime to escape. In the London Underground, Quatermass unearths parasites far more ancient than any Marx described. Neil poses the same question as Wells, but differently. Will Earth become the second dead planet of the Martians? For Wells, the Martians that invade London from Surreyside are extraterrestrial pirates giving the British Imperium a taste of its own medicine. But Professor Quatermass, the metapsychologist, can see that there was no human life that preceded the arrival of the myrmidons of death. The discovery he makes in Hobbs End is archaeopsychic horror. Human beings were only able to carrier bodies for the alien death drive. There is no inside, and everything in your dream home is already owned by the parasites. That is why it isn't only traumatic fixation that compels Londoners to keep dreaming of invasion. Something else getting in would also be something in you getting out. Destruction of the world is also flight from the strata, from the catacomb of home, tomb of the Cybermen. The TV orphans whose electronic spines tingled to Delia Derbyshire's Doctor Who theme knew this as soon as they heard it in 1963. The uncanny is always the untimely. Delia Derbyshire is no more bound to her own time than Marx or Quatermass, the denizens of theirs. On the contrary, cutting up present time in the radiophonic workshop's lab in Maida Vale, she is a nomad of the time streams. She used concrete sources and sine square wave oscillators, tuning the results, filtering and treating, cutting so that the joins were seamless, combining sound on individual tape recorders, re-recording the results, and repeating the process over and over again. Television was the unhomely vortex around which the 1960s British domestic scene was organised. The Chinese box display unit, opening out the so-called interior onto the media landscape. The wired kids who watched and tranced had consumed the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Bay of Pigs with their breast milk. They know that terror is the name for the new, and they hear in Derbyshire's sonic construction, broadcast for the first time the day after Kennedy's exploding head had inaugurated the 60s atrocity exhibition, a presentiment of the decade's mega-violence. But they hear something else in the radiophonic workshop's audio uncanny, which, never centre stage in the rock spectacle, nevertheless quickly becomes unobtrusively ubiquitous. An alternative now builds itself out of radio station idents and incidental music. Earworms breed the hunger for a space in which they can propagate, out beyond the pleasure principle, on the strobing plateaus of the dance floor.